Started last summer after the 83rd legislature finished, and we knew that this was going into full effect and what we had to be doing. So there was lots of reading on our part, attending meetings, going to conferences, any type of convention in Austin, anything that we could get an extra piece of House Bill 5 information. So that's where we started.
Started, back when the legislative session passed House Bill 5, started looking at the things that were supposed to be involved in that, getting clarifications from TEA, getting a lot of help from Mr. Ratliff in the State Board of Education.
We used a lot of our background from our PBL training, our inquiry-driven instruction, because when you're working with that, you know what standards you're going to teach. You know the ones you want the kids to master. So what we did is we started asking ourselves those questions. We looked at the mandates that were required for the kids and for our planning for this as our standards. And then we worked back to a driving question. And that driving question was, how are we going to get our kids to graduate the most efficient method possible with the staff that we have and getting the endorsements that they want to earn based on their interest?
Couldn't do this unless we could look at it. And that's where the idea of the war room and putting all these post-it notes up, looking at everything and having one place where we could pretty much see the whole thing at one time.
It was a very large driving question, so we started laying out the pieces of it, and we did that using giant post-it notes. We pasted each of the courses all around the room by subject area, and then we put all the courses that fit that subject area.
And dedicated a section of that to the foundation plan and laying out every single opportunity or component that could be offered in the beginning. Everything. Knowing that as a small district, we were not going to be able to offer all of those choices, but we wanted to see them.
Then we went down and labeled them, whether it's one that we offered face-to-face, whether it was one we got virtually through SuperNet Virtual High School, or whether it's one we knew that we would need to go to TXVSN, the Texas Virtual School Network, to get.
Then it took us about a week and a half to get everything up, clustered, where we needed it to be, and then we had to walk ourselves through it and talk ourselves through that.
Then we went and looked at all the elective pieces that would tie in for the endorsements, and we did our best to fit with our staff. We called our staff in. We walked them through the process. We said, there's your sticky note right next to what you're certified to teach. Let's look at some things that you're not currently teaching that you might have an interest in, because we'd much rather you pick what you're going to teach because it's your interest.
These are the most sweeping of changes in our entire career. It's most sweeping, but it's also very exciting because they have an option, the student and their parents, to fully be vested in what their choices are and where they're headed.
The possibilities here are very exciting. The idea that our students can develop, one of the things that we've done for years is said we want education to be something that's crafted to the interest of a student. Obviously, we want to meet state standards. We want to make sure that they have their the academic necessities, the core courses and the groundwork they need to succeed. But we also want school to be interesting to the students. This allows that to take place. This allows them to go anything from STEM Academy to a basic curriculum plus an interest in fine arts, a basic curriculum plus an interest in business and industry. I mean, there's so many different ways they can go, and they'll still have the academic rigor. They'll still be involved in advanced level courses. They'll still get endorsements. They'll still have an opportunity to be valedictorian if that's what they want to do. But it's not something where everybody's having to take the same classes and do the same thing, and they can get out of high school an experience that's more crafted to their interest.
But we also knew that to be successful in this, we had to have buy-in from the community level all the way to the board level, and they needed to see the amount of work that was involved in the process. And by doing the giant sticky notes in there, along with all the massive volume of small sticky notes that we have our notes and what have you on, they were able to see that process as it went. They may come in one day and all they saw were the giant post-it notes on the wall, and then the next day they come in and half of them are covered with sticky notes, and then the next time they come in there's sticky notes on the wall next to the giant post-it notes that are covered with sticky notes. They're able to see why we did what we did. They're able to follow that process with us, and it makes sense to them. So now, when you're explaining it to parents, we've gone through the process from A to Z. So we can answer their questions typically. Our staff can answer their questions. The school board can answer a lot of those questions for them. And it's easy for them to understand why we chose the path that we chose.
That our foundation plan, every student in the state gets the same foundation plan of 22 credits. And then where we start customizing by school district will be the number of endorsements that we offer. And so for a 2A school district, we're going to offer 4 of those 5 endorsements.
This is a process that is not complete. We had talked a little bit earlier, and I said, we're going to know what we're doing in about 5 years. When we take this 8th grade class completely through this system and we see all the adjustments that we have to make, we look at the classes that we're going to have to change, or what's going to make and what isn't going to make based on the interest of the students. This is going to be a learning project for quite some time, and it's going to be a learning project at the district level, and it's going to be a learning project at the state level as this develops into a usable and workable plan for all size school districts.
And so we expect every student at White Oak High School to graduate with an endorsement. And because we have Algebra 2, you're going to become a distinguished grad, which is the top graduation plan. Okay, so we've got 3 endorsements. We've got a STEM endorsement with 5 sciences. We've got a business and industry and an ag piece. We've got an arts and humanities and your music piece, distinguished with Algebra 2. Are we good to go?
Wow, that'll be great. Yeah.
And this is your 4-year roadmap. This is what you're going to refer to. And as we see, I'm going to tell you this, and I know Ms. Ham covered it in 8th grade sessions with them. If for some reason, because we've got 3 endorsement pieces going, and at some point, let's say he decides, you know what, I'm not going to do one of them, I want to do something else, this is the place right here between the sophomore and junior year. That's huge, because high school has got to make sure that you have time to pick up those additional courses to finish that endorsement. Should you change to something else?
I wasn't sure what to expect coming in, but I like it a lot because it puts it out there very plainly, very clearly, what you're doing and what you're working for. So I'm excited.
I think it's easier to do stuff like learn when you actually have kind of a say in what you're learning, instead of just doing what somebody else tells you to do.